Hello ladies and gentlemen, and finally, welcome back for Season 3, Round 1 for the ISR AIC Championship. Last time out, it was Josh Martin and Northern Lights Racing who representatively powered their way to the front to win their respective titles, and the big news is that Josh Martin has elected to take a sabbatical after his title victory and recuperate, but aims to be back for next season, which means, of course, unless Nut Martinson can win once again, we will have our new third ISR AIC World Champion. Alongside me again is once more Zack Swader. Zack, we got a lot of things to talk about, and it is good to be back.
It is very good to be back, Toby, and I can tell you one thing. This is probably the most excited I've been for an AIC season since the inaugural season in the Shiragos, because we're in open wheel cars for this season. GP2 cars from 2006 is what we're using this season on Automobilista, and I gotta say, we got a gorgeous, beautiful looking field, vibrant of colors, and quite a few driver changes for this season. Of course, you'll see that when we go through qualifying here, but yeah, Josh Martin not with us, so yes, like you said, Toby, if Nut Martinson can be able to rebounce and regain, of course, we know he's known for his open wheel, racing in Formula 1 games. I'm pretty sure that could be a viable option, but yeah, we will have a new champion this season. But the only defending title that we can come out of this, Toby, is of course Northern Lights Racing, where they won the team championship. So very interested to see how they can be able to do this season and be able to defend their championship this season.
Yes, so speaking of teams championships, we've got a little bit to go over in terms of transfers. I know you and me were just talking before we started the recording, and we found obviously that there is only one rookie this season in the form of Taylor Lane, who took Kevin Jacobs' seat at ART after Kevin Jacobs was roped in, wasn't he, by NORL, after NORL elected to have a mutual decision with Valerio Campagnari for him to retire from the series. He put in a valiant last effort with a 5th place in Hockenheim, and he stepped down to help manage the team. So Kevin Jacobs went to NORL, and Douglas Anderson and the rest of the ART board drafted in Taylor Lane to take his place, and that is now our only rookie. In terms, everything else has just been a little bit of a shuffle, Zach, so let's just get ourselves and the audience up to speed. So first things first was Autoback 765 underwent a new management change, a new name change, and they are now known as WSR Mercedes. They went and sniped the driver they wanted for a long time. They've been scouting him through season 1 and 2, and they went and they got Joshua Wood, and it was a very surprise move. Not a lot of people at all in the paddock expected it or saw it coming. Even JSR wasn't prepared. So they were left with very little options, but they picked up Jonathan Carrera, which is an interesting fact because it's not a bad trade-off. Jonathan Carrera did arguably, I think, finish higher in the standings than Joshua Wood last season, and he was Rookie of the Season. So trading one Rookie of Season for the next in terms of JSR. Otherwise, we have the likes of a few movements. I think that might actually be our major update done in terms of who's moved where, other than we've mentioned Kevin Jacobs partnering Christopher Pettersson, of course. But yeah, that's it. In terms of our moves, actually, that's it. So a lot of people staying in the same place, Zach, but mainly it's Jonathan Carrera and Joshua Robert Wood effectively swapping seats for Season 3.
That was a very interesting thing, and I know, like you said, a lot of people didn't, foresee it coming. We don't know if it was the same kind of deal, kind of like what happened the first time, ironically enough, with the same team when Gareth Lennon was at teammates with Colin Spencer. So it kind of makes you wonder, Toby, if the expectations when you're teamed up with someone as raptorious as Colin J. Spencer when it comes to ISR, if some of the expectations as a secondary driver are very high. Because if you notice, it's kind of the same circumstances, Toby. I kind of noticed this too. Gareth Lennon had one season in the Scirocco's with season 1. He had one win, I believe it was the season opener, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong here. But after that, he kind of fell off through the season and was never really heard from again. He ends up going to the Iron Brew squad with Colin McAllister. Well, JSR comes up and brings in Joshua Wood, who was the Season 1 Rookie of the Year, who was, we call Mr. Consistency. Of course, didn't have a win, but that came up in the DTMs at Curitiba. after that, he kind of falls off, you know, halfway through the season, and not after that, too. And so now it's kind of the same situation. So it's a very interesting thing with JSR, how their secondary drivers seems to do good in one race, but after that, it just seems to fall apart. So it'll be interesting to see what Jonathan Carrero can do for JSR here. But yeah, just pretty much a seat swap, I guess you can say. But should be an interesting thing nonetheless, though.
Well, yeah, NORL obviously promoted Kevin Jacobs to a full-time seat as well. He was brought in as effectively an NORL-backed driver, but loaned out to ART. They ended that loan at the end of Season 3, and they have promoted him up to the senior squad. I heard that the likes of ART wasn't too happy about that. They were planning to keep him on for a few more seasons, but NORL said, look, we think he's ready to step up, and they moved him up in that one. Of course, it was my understanding as well that JSR had planned to retain Joshua Wood as well, but so effective was the headhunting of WSR, they had no chance to keep him because he didn't even know it was happening. By the time they knew it was happening, he was already penned down for Season 3. So that is how your grid looks then. Everyone else is the same. We have a few team announcements to go over. Obviously, ISR teaming up with the Team Black Diamond Esports Association. They will be running as ISR Black Diamond this season. JSR has changed its main sponsor to Mevius, as has ART changed from Jägermeister to Matmut, and WSR obviously renaming from Autoback 765 and moving to WSR Mercedes. But everything other than those points is completely the same, and we're sure the racing is going to be the completely same in terms of just how good it was. So without further ado, let's go find out what happened in qualifying. So as we take a look at the first qualifying session of the year, it is Rhinus Melnganis starting off strong after a strong end to his campaign. He takes his pole position, not his first, I think that's about his third or fourth pole position with a 127.5, but only 4 thousandths of a second behind him was, can you imagine, Callum Spencer, right back in there with his consistency for Mevius. Best qualifying result of his career for Toby Burn, lining up in third position, just 200ths off the two in front of him. Zack Swader will line up in fourth for his new team WSR Mercedes, and I'm sure he'll be very happy with that. Stephen Paul equals a career best fifth to get GTFG back off on the right foot, and Chester Jackson sets his best qualifying in AIC as well. He lines up ahead of Gareth Lennon, who hopes Iron Brew will have a stronger start to the season. Behind him is NORL full-time promoted driver Kevin Jacobs.
In 9th place, Joshua Wood with his new WSR team comes out in 9th, and Dougie Anderson starts out in 10th. Behind him, the trade-off of Joshua Wood, Jonathan Carrero for JSR is 11th, Nico Foggy in 12th, and fellow EQU driver to Chester Jackson, Danny Diaz is 13th, Christopher Pedersen 14th, and Craig McLeod-Evans in 15th, and behind him, GTFG driver Charles McBee.
Behind him will be the ART Matmut debutant Taylor Lane. He will line up ahead of Nut Martinson, really not the start Force Fizzy want, with a 19th and 21st respectively. Splitting the two Force Fizzies is Colin McAllister, showing that Iron Brew might be in for a little bit of a tough time here in Australia, but they do have, of course, Gareth Lennon in the top 10, Zach. So mixed fortunes for Iron Brew, but a few career best qualifyings in the form of Byrne and Jackson, and obviously Jacobs on his debut for NORL, and of course Stephen Paul equaling his best ever qualifying. Really nice to see GTFG. Of course, GTFG were technically tied champions with WSR as they were known back then, now JSR, and they had a really poor season too, so it's nice to see Stephen Paul getting them back off on the right foot. But we have a lot of drivers showing their potential in these open wheel cars, and I think that can throw a little spice into this season, Zach.
Yeah, and it's good to see Toby Burn up there as well, and of course Zack Swader. Of course, he started off his season 2 in the DTMs pretty rough, then picked it up toward the end of the season, of course winning our season finale at Hockenheimring, so he's looking to keep his momentum forward with the new team. But yes, very good to see a lot of guys up there, especially Rhinus Melnganis and Toby Burn. They're the ones that are going to be looking forward to today, because so far they're the highest ones up in the grid. And so it could be nice to see a Black Diamond podium, which would be a very good one for the team, because there's been a lot of trouble with the ISR Black Diamond team. So hopefully they can come out with a very, very good sponsor here today.
Yeah, so first blood to ISR Black Diamond Mevius. JSR right in there, and WSR right in there too. We get ready then to go to race 1 of Season 3 of the ISR AIC Championship. Round 1 is upon us then, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to ISR Season 3. Of course, we will have a new championship leader if Martinson does not win today, of course. Burn equalled his best qualifying, and stutters are expected, but will not affect the racing. There is a fix in place for Round 2. Callum Spencer's consistency once again, and the chances of a safety car or mechanical failure are very high due to new AI code implemented by Riser Studios. But enough about that, because we are on 3, now 4, and now 5 red lights. And the ISR AIC Season 3 Championship is underway. And look at the start from Toby Burn. He's already looking to challenge his teammate, Rhinus Melnganis, going into Turn 1. Surely he's going to have a little pop up the inside. No, he is not, and he leaves it for another day. But going through Turn 1, everyone looks like they've gone through a bit cleanly. No, they've not. Absolute carnage going on through Turn 1. We've got Craig Evans off in the grass as well. He gets back underway and driving away. Danny Diaz. No, we've got our first DNF of the Season 3 Championship, and that's Charles McBee. His helmet says, "What would Richard Petty do?" And it would not be that, Zach.
It certainly would not, but at the escape right now, it seems to be an ISR Team Black Diamond 1-2 as they get away from the scrap. But yeah, very unfortunate situation for Charles McBee, and that is, of course, not what Richard Petty would do, but very chaotic start. And we got a car. That's one of the EQU cars without a front wing, it looks like. So obviously, carnage off the skin. Oh, wow, there's a lot of traffic going on right there. There was a lot going over the curbing right there. That's one of the Matlet cars right there, and a safety car already, Toby, and I think it's a good thing too, because there's probably a lot of debris up in the first corner. So already the first safety car of the season.
Yeah, that will give us some time to go over the replays of just what happened in Turn 1, as I'm sure there's going to be an absolute mess of debris after what just happened there. Charles McBee obviously came off worst of everyone, but we had Craig Evans going off as well, and it was just a bit messy. But look at Gareth Lennon. Toby Burn got a very good start, almost challenged for first and made up the place. But Gareth Lennon has made 7 places, Zach, and is up in 3rd place. And where's Callum Spencer gone? He's all the way in 11th. Chester Jackson, and I think that's Douglas Anderson. No, the new ART Matmut in the pits as well. He's sustained damage somewhere on that lap. Danny Diaz is getting a bit feisty, I'm sure, for some reason, and I think the stewards might look into that. That was a bit aggressive for safety car standards. But I think we're going to have time to look at some replays, Zach. And what happens to Charles McBee?
Let's see, we're going down the front straightaway. Clean start for everyone right here. As Charles McBee, he's on the left side, which is the dirty side, I would think. And that was just, I don't know if he hit the curb or something, or kind of got tapped. It's kind of hard to tell from this. Was that some kind of carbon fiber shard that goes completely over him?
I think that was his tire.
Danny Diaz. Yeah, I believe it was. I believe that was, okay, so we're up with Danny Diaz, and so that's what happened. He ended up getting hit by Danny Diaz, and that's what sent him off. So I guess Danny was just trying to check up for all the stuff that was happening in front of him. But now we're on board with Colin Spencer. We've got a terrible kind of a Mark Webber-esque kind of start. And he comes up here, and oh, okay, so that's what happened to Colin Spencer. He goes completely off the track and collects one of the WSR cars, and also getting collected by another EQU machine. So that's what happened to Colin Spencer. Now let's take a look at Douglas Anderson, though, real quick here. So I'm on board with him. I think this was a car that lost his front wing, and yeah, that's one of the Forrest Fissy cars, I think, that he collected with, or one of the other cars. I couldn't tell who that was. And now I'm on board with Chester Jackson. Really good shot from the camera guys. Fantastic start. And oof. That's that's one of the Mebius. I believe that could have been Tom Spencer, or I take that back. Sorry, that was Joshua Wood, it looked like, because Spen went off into the gravel, it looked like. So obviously that could have been Joshua Wood that he collected, or Jonathan team swap. So it's still kind of hard to get grasp, but definitely a chaotic start nonetheless here. But yeah, first safety car of the season. So maybe now we'll calm down just a little bit here.
Yeah, just looking at the repair job they did on Chester Jackson there, they were only able to repair the front wing, but safety car is in this lap nonetheless, and we are racing once again. Toby Burn looking to try rectify the lap 1 incident where he couldn't get past his teammate. Is he going to have a go this time? He's looking up the inside, he's going for it, and no, he backs out. A little bit of respect between teammates there, but is that going to leave him a little bit under pressure from Gareth Lennon? I think it just might. Look at the slipstream from the Iron Brew car we ride on board with now, looking to the inside. Is he going to throw it up the inside? Yes, he is. Is he going to get it done? Yes, he is. So opportunistic stuff. And now Toby Burn under pressure from Stephen Paul, who tries to go all the way around the outside, but Toby Burn's not having any of that. He's done for that day of losing positions. Very opportunistic stuff from the Northern Irishman. Very well executed indeed. And a little bit of contact between Evan Imre and Callum Spencer as well. No, that's Jonathan Carrera, sorry. And it's a free abreast situation as we come for the next corner. That's Nickel Foggy looking to get a little bit involved as well. Is he going to make it almost 4 wide? Yes, he is. Down the inside for 7th place goes Nickel Foggy. Scotsman on Scotsman in terms of Evan Imre and Nickel Foggy. Absolutely crazy racing going on. He's up into 6th if he can get this move done. What a start from the Scotsman in the defending team's champions if he can. We saw a GTFG car side by side as well. He gets the move done, does Nickel Foggy. Great racing by him. Stephen Paul looks like he is defending from Josh Wood. Another good starter in the form of Josh Wood up into 5th place, running solid at the moment, and we can just see Zach's lost a whole lot of positions as well, hasn't he? He's lost 5 positions, and now Colin McAllister, who started right down in 20th place, is up in 10th place, so he's picked his way through the carnage. And look at that, Amerius makes a very late move, and that's Callum Spencer, and now Colin McAllister holds on to that position for now, but he has Christopher Pettersson to contend with.
Yeah, that was a very aggressive move, and here comes Ben trying to gain all the ground that he lost in the first corner collision. He's trying to make a move on Colin McAllister. He's on the outside. Don't know if he's going to be able to get it done here. They're side by side going down the DRS zone, and I believe this could be one of the NRL cars sticking his nose into it as well, but it looks like Spen, being the veteran that he is, will make the move. So very fantastic stuff. And that's Christopher Pettersson, the other NRL car. Behind him is Nut Martinson, and going through the field, Chester Jackson and a few others behind them. But so far right now, it's still the ISR 1-2. Stephen Paul made his way up into 4th. And so he's kind of snatched away from everyone else. But take a look now, Nut Martinson and Christopher Pettersson battle right now. Nut Martinson, both of these, guys, one's from one. If you guys don't know, Nut Martinson, of course, the main owner of AOR, Apex Online Racing, and they've started out in these kind of open wheel cars. And Christopher Pettersson, I don't think he's really known for the open wheel cars, and he's more of the GT DTM here, as he kind of had a pretty good season pretty much in DTM. It was a good recovery from the Scirocco's, but he's got some work to cut out for him, as he's in a car that he's not particularly familiar with, as Evan Imre is going to be taking a look right now at Joshua Wood, the new WSR member. As you can tell from the yellow T-cam, Swader is in the red T-cam and Wood is the yellow T-cam. And so far, Evan Imre is not going to make things any difficult right now, but right here, lap 1, turn 1 incident is going to be investigated after the race, and it's kind of hard to tell who or if anyone was at fault at that point, too, because there was just carnage, chaos all over the place, and it just could have been someone trying to be a bit too aggressive at the start here. But nonetheless, there will be some incidents that could be maybe did some penalties. We're going to see what the stewards can think about that.
Yeah, Jonathan Carrera makes a move on Evan Imre while you're discussing that good move from the man taking Joshua Wood's seat in the JSR then. So look at this absolute train forming in the early acts, and look at Colin McAllister really putting the pressure back on Callum Spencer after losing that position. Really wants that back, but now he's under a little bit of pressure himself from Christopher Pettersson. Is he going to make a move? We ride on board with a Swede down the inside for 11th place. Can he make it work? He's now going to do it around the outside. Colin McAllister defends well. Now they will run side by side into the super quick left and right handers of the chicane here at Albert Park. And look at Nut Martinson, opportunistic, gets up the inside of Christopher Pettersson, and they will bang wheels, and look, still banging wheels through the absolute monster of a chicane. And a side by side, Fizzy is going to have to do it all the way around the outside if he dare take this position from the Swede. Is he going to be able to do it? We ride on board with him, surely not. No, loses the back end and has to settle back down. Christopher Pettersson battles for another day, but Evan Imre getting squeezed out while going wheel to wheel with Callum Spencer. Absolute manic racing going on in these early stages after the safety car, and season 3 is already turning out to be everything we've hoped it be. Gareth Lennon trying to put the pressure on the race leader just a little bit. Stephen Paul doing a very good job for GTFG, probably equaling their best result from season 2 if I'm not very much mistaken, but it's a lonely road back there for 18th place, Zach.
Yeah, it is indeed. And I can tell you one thing, though. Gareth Lennon is pretty surprised that he's up in second right now as he split the ISR 1-2, as Gareth Lennon is going to try to make a charge on our leader, Ryan Ismangales. Remember, Ryan Ismangales has had a kind of a terrible season. Remember, he was one of our mechanical failures last season in the DTMs, and he is hoping for a rebound, as well as his boss, Toby Burn, who's had pretty much an entire ISR AIC miserable performance, and this is probably his highest performance. He's been taking a look now at Zack Swader is going to make a move right now on Jonathan Carrero, his ex-teammate, and he's behind his current teammate. So a bit of a saying, hey, you should have performed better, buddy. You would have still been in my team right here. But look at this right here. This is kind of an ironic situation. We got both WSR and JSR cars. Those are the ones that had the main swap, and they're right there. Through 6th through 8th respectively. So that's kind of an interesting situation to see nonetheless. As you take a look at Evan Imre going to try to go on the gearbox of Colin Spencer, but Sven is not going to have a move. But Christopher Pedersen tried to right there on McAllister, but McAllister and that was Evan Imre. I'm sorry, not Martinson, trying to get a bit aggressive and just kind of pretty much ruined his shot right there to try to make anything done. He should have known better than that, being the open wheel veteran he is, but just a bit aggressive as Colin McAllister making another move here. We've got Overtake City right now, and I am very excited to see all of these drivers right now just fierce and competitive. It's the first race of the season, so you would think everyone would be trying to size each other up, especially when new cars would go 3 wide. Evan Imre, Colin McAllister, and Nut Martinson, the 2 AR boys, out of nowhere, and they lose more than everyone else here because Christopher Pedersen and I think Colin McAllister got away scot-free. And back again right now, the WSR and JSR boys, these are up again as Colin Spencer trying to make the rebound from the first corner incident, as he's going to try to make the move. I believe he does make that stick on his ex-teammate of Joshua Wood, and so now he's right behind his current teammate Jonathan Carrero, who Zack Swader is ahead of them. So everyone jockeying for position as we ride on board with Jonathan Carrero looking back at his team boss, Toby. But right now, it seems to be getting very feisty through the middle part of the field.
Absolutely crazy racing, and of course the ironic battle between JSR and WSR, but it's still not over in terms of team battles because the Force Fizzies now run side by side, and it's going to be champion of the world from Season 1 versus his teammate going on the inside. His teammate lost the back end, had to subdue that position. That puts him under a little bit of pressure from the rookie, Taylor Lane. It's very easy to make a rookie mistake in the first round. Taylor just taking it a bit easy. No, he's not going to take it a bit easy. He's going to throw it up the inside of Evan Imre. He wants to make a statement immediately and say, look mate, I'm not here just to be the rookie. I'm going to earn the tag of Rookie of the Season, even if I am the only rookie. And we just saw there, Ryan Ismangales responded to Gareth Lennon's charge, Zach, by setting a new fastest lap of the race. And I think that was immediately beaten by Gareth Lennon. So Gareth Lennon is absolutely flying, Zach. And speaking of flying, Kevin Jacobs going to try get the move done. Of course, Kevin Jacobs had a bit of a rough season last time out. That is a very brave move.
Yeah, that's a very brave move, and that's not a particular passing zone. I think only a few F1 drivers have ever made a move right there, and I think Lewis Hamilton would be probably the only one that could probably get that done through the outside of that one corner here at Melbourne Park. So very, very risky move as we're going through the field right now. Nico Foggy and Stephen Paul. Very interesting thing here, GTFG. He's, Stephen Paul, we haven't heard much from in terms of ISR AIC. He's had a few good performances, but I believe, like you said, this is the highest we've seen Stephen Paul in quite a long time. So a very good performance so far if he can keep this up. But he's got to defend, of course, Nico Foggy, who Northern Lights Racing is our defending team champion. So, Nico Foggy, he's no stranger to being in battle. So we're going to have to see if he can be able to snatch up 4th place from Stephen Paul here. But as we go lap 10 of 15 now, Brandis Mangales and Gareth Lennon still, Gareth trying to respond to Ryan Mangales, but Ryan Mangales trying to respond to Gareth Lennon. So kind of a lap time trial battle between those two here. But the more ironic situation of WSR and JSR still kind of calmed down just a little bit from what it was maybe 1 or 2 laps ago, as we're on board with Joshua Wood, the new WSR member. Very interesting and great looking onboard cameras, and I think that's going to be the benefit for being in these open wheel cars. We're going to have some very, very nice camera views this season, Toby. So very, very good job from the camera guys this season. So I cannot wait to see how everything pans out for the rest of the season here. And Colin Spencer is going to try to make a move, catch up to his new teammate of Jonathan Carrero, but behind him is Wood. Just going through Melbourne Park, this track open for Formula 1, so it's very fitting that we open here with ours as Wood tries to make, Sven tried to make a move right there on Carrero, but couldn't get that done here. But yeah, very, very fun to see Melbourne on the calendar this season, Toby.
Yeah, and it's providing some excellent racing for us here today. Callum Spencer putting a little bit of pressure on his less experienced teammate, and maybe a little bit of synchronized swimming might be in order, because it looks like Callum Spencer's faster, but he can't get past his teammate. Melbourne notoriously tricky to make a pass on, but these guys have been defying that little slug and all day long, haven't they? Colin McAllister using all the track and a bit more there, but a great drive from Colin McAllister, up from about 18th, was it, to 11th at the moment, trying to get some points. Rhinus Margelis sets another fastest lap of the race in his efforts to pull away from Gareth Lennon, but great effort for Iron Brew, considering their last season. They ended the season really strong last season, so I think they ended on a very good foundation to enter this season, and obviously Gareth Lennon's maximised that in qualifying and got in the top 10 and now finds himself in the top 2, and Colin McAllister has drove all the way from 18th place to get up into 11th place on the fringe of the points, but Christopher Pettersson, with the season NORL had last time out, will equally want those points, especially after his teammate Kevin Jacobs got involved. But there's Callum Spencer getting involved, trying to look for a way past his teammate. Clearly no team orders in place here, but Callum Spencer is going to try and get the move done on merit and a little bit of a try and bump and run. Don't hit your teammates, boys. That's the #1 rule. That puts you under a little bit of pressure from this man, Joshua Wood, in the background, looking like my former team fighting each other. I can pick up the scraps on this one. Callum Spencer getting very impatient behind his teammate, almost hitting him, and it could have been a bit more disastrous than it was. Joshua Wood, Robert Wood, has got an amazing run. Will he throw it to the inside? No, doesn't really have the bottle on this occasion. Thinks it would be smarter to just let the bright blue cars do their own thing, and the way they're going, he probably thinks they're going to take each other out soon, but he knows his former team, and he knows how they operate, and clearly no team orders, and I think Josh Wood knows that, and that's why he's waiting for them to do battle.
Yeah, kind of a Red Bull situation that we had at Baku, and right there, Spencer going on the inside. I think he's going to be able to get it done. I think he's going to have to clear, but no. Carrero shut the door. I thought Spen was going to have a look, but apparently not there. And I think Spencer is getting really impatient at this point. I think he's yelling for his team to come on, let me through. I am the faster car. And I think it finally went through as Carrero just pretty much stepped aside. But like you said, they battled. And oh, there's going to be, yep, Christopher Pettersson is going to hitch a ride to save fuel on one of the Iron Brew cars. I believe that's McAllister. He's going to save fuel and hitch a ride right there. And that's going to put him under pressure from Martinson doing that. So that was a kind of an interesting moment nonetheless to see a car on top of another car. So that was a scary situation, but appears everyone is intact, which funny enough, with being open wheel cars, you know, the damage, we know we can't really sustain that much damage as we have for the past 2 seasons, being touring car style, you know, discipline series. But, you know, that's kind of a cool thing to see, that being an open wheel car being up in the air like that. But just going through right here, back up at the top, Gareth Lennon has kind of really caught up to Rhinus Vangelis, and unfortunately, this isn't Formula 1 because Gareth Lennon is within the 1 second, and he would be able to use DRS, but sadly, DRS wasn't even invented because these are a bit of a stat thing for you. These are 2006 GP2 cars, which I believe, I could be wrong, Toby, but Lewis Hamilton drove these in his season before he joined F1, so these are kind of a little throwback nod to Lewis Hamilton here. But unfortunately for Gareth Lennon, he kind of wishes he had DRS because he probably couldn't be able to take the battle to Rhinus Vangelis, but he's going to have to do a bit of driving as they had to do before DRS and KERS were a thing, as we're riding on board with Stephen Paul, looking back at Nickel Foggy, and Nickel is trying to take something at Stephen Paul, but I don't know if he's going to be able to do anything at the moment. He needs a bit of a tow, and he needs a bit of help from Toby Burn to slow him down. But speaking of which, Toby Burn kind of in a sticky situation. He wants to keep third to get as many points as he can because his teammate Rhinus Vangelis is in first. But right now he's got 2 hard-charging cars behind him, and they're probably going to do battle themselves.
Yeah, that's probably his best option, is just to keep going as he is, and while these two follow each other, try and pull a little bit of a gap. But yeah, these cars are a nod to many drivers that we know and love so well. The likes of Hamilton, obviously, Timo Glock, Nelson Piquet Jr., Lucas Degrassi, A lot of drivers in general drove these cars. Not Martinson thinking about a move. Is he going to go for the move? Trying to get that final points-paying position off Colin McAllister. Yes, he snatches it away. And now it's Christopher Pettersson fancying that 11th place. Wheel banging as we come through the fast corner. But no, it's not to be. But Evan Imre fancies that 12th place off Christopher Pettersson. Rhinus Melganis sets a new fastest lap. Evan Imre tries to go around the outside of the final corner. Never going to happen in a month of Sundays, unfortunately for Evan Imre. But Callum Spencer now sets the fastest lap, showing just how much pace the Mevius has. Despite cutting turn 1 like a lawnmower, he's going strong now. He's got in the clear air, and that was probably why the decision at JSR was made to let him through, because just look at how much faster he is in clean air. But Nut Martinson, can we just give a shout out to the Force Fizzy boys, Zach? Evan Imre in 13th, Nut Martinson in 10th. They started 19th and 21st, and look at Kevin Jacobs trying to do the outside manoeuvre. Once again, not going to happen under pressure from Craig Evans, who again, as a man who challenged for the championship last time out, is having a bit of a bitter afternoon. Of course, he was, I think, part of the collective Turn 1 incident, isn't he? So he might be driving with a bit of a damaged floor because he took a hefty trip across the gravel trap, so it could have caused a little bit of aerodynamic damage in that. But the Force Fizzy started 19th and sorry, not 19th and 21st, because that's included in the cameraman. 18th and 20th for the Force Fizzies, and they're up in 10th and 13th. Amazing drive from them, amazing drive from Gareth Lennon. So many amazing drives on the count of Turn 1. A lot of people just showing that just keep your nose clean and it will all come to you. But we look like we are coming to start the penultimate lap, I believe this will be. I don't think this will be quite lap 15. We'll soon find out, but I'm pretty sure Rhinus Melgalis has already crossed the line to make it. No, this is the final lap then. Final lap for... Final lap then. No worries. That's the final lap. And Gareth Lennon looks like he's dropped off a little bit. If you look on the timings, we've got real-time timings for you this season. We hope to keep those if we can. But we do have real time for you, at least this race, so you can watch all the gaps in real time to what's going on, so you know the exact same as us. And look at this train, Zach. On the final lap, Colin McAllister desperate. He wants them points for Iron Brew. It means so much to him, but it means so much to Nut Martinson after the races he had last season and the miserable title defence that he had. And this will be an amazing drive if he finishes in the points, but he's under a little bit of pressure from Colin McAllister, who desperately wants those points to get Iron Brew on the top foot. He doesn't want Gareth Lennon to have all the bragging rights up there on the podium. He wants to say, at least I got some points. I drove a good race too, and he has driven a good race, to be fair to him. But he's just struggling to get into the points right now, and any bit of mistake is cruelly punished by Christopher Pettersson. That's been the trend of this whole mid-pack, the entire race, and it's been closer than I think we've ever seen. And these open wheel cars are giving us an absolute beautiful perspective of what racing can really be in the AI world. But the man who was driven with the plan, the man in absolute dominant display, kept his composure in the face of adversity, and for the first time in a while, it is Rhinus Melgalis who will come home and take a win for ISR Black Diamond ahead of a podium for Gareth Lennon. Great drive from him, and first ever podium, I think that might be for Toby Burn as well. Great stuff for ISR Black Diamond. That's going to help them in the team championship. Great drive for Paul, Foggy, and the rest behind, but it's that man who wins it all, Zach. Here are your results.
So Rhinus Melgalis wins for ISR, and it's him and Toby Burn both on the podium, with, of course, Gareth Lennon splitting them. Stephen Paul does manage to finish ahead of Nickel Foggy. And look at this interesting right here, 6th through 8th. Remember that driver swap that we were talking about at the beginning and during the race? Zack Swader, Colin Spencer, Joshua Wood, and Jonathan Carrero. Remember, those teams swapped drivers of Wood and Carrero. So that's kind of interesting to see all of them scrambled right there in those 4th. And of course, Nut Martinson, and we talked about it, he came from the back and he's looking to try and get the title this season. You know, I think this is a good point finish for him. So this could be a scale of many things to come for Nut Martinson, hopefully this season. Colin McAllister and Christopher Pettersson finished behind him respectively, but very, very cool things, Toby. So why don't you go ahead and take us through the rest of the field.
Evan Imre lines up in 13th, finishing ahead of debutant Taylor Lane. Reasonably good job from him today. Kevin Jacobs, Craig Evans 16th, 17th, 18th and 19th. And if you did miss it, I think because of all the chaos that we missed it, but Danny Diaz was disqualified for that reckless driving we saw behind the safety car. So Reiser and the stewards came collectively and decided to disqualify him because of his safety car antics. It was my understanding he was driving like it was still green flag, I think was the description So disqualification, really bad start for Danny Diaz. But Rhinus Mangalis then leads your championship, and it's pretty much the same as your race results. But look at that. ISR TBD, an amazing start for them, and they will have a commanding lead in the standings, I'm sure. Gareth Lennon will be super pleased that Iron Brew Racing looks like it's reformed and looks like they might be ready to go racing, Zach. After such a torrid season, he thought it was such a mistake cutting ties with WSR. But why don't you take us through the team standings?
So, of course, ISR TBD with the first and third are our top people with 40 points, and behind them, Iron Brew Racing with 18 points, and GTFG third with 12, tied with WSR Mercedes for third. So hopefully they can be able to score some more points to GTFG. Unfortunately, of course, had the incident with Charles McBee being our DNF, and LR needs to make some work throughout the season. Of course, it's only the first season, but of course they are our defending team champions, and of course maybe it's JSR being kind of squished between that WSR battle, score 8 points, and Force Vizzy with, of course, Nut Martinson finishing in 10th gets the lone point, and then the rest of the field unfortunately do not score any points, Toby.
And that is it then, your crazy first round one race, Zach, of ISR AIC, and it did not disappoint, did it? I was a little bit worried myself. Melbourne, statistically, has the least overtakes of many tracks, especially the least overtakes of any track we're going to this season. And if this is the least amount of overtakes we're going to see all season, I think we're going to be just fine. Coming next in the ISR is the Super GT Season 4 Round 2 Championship at Kyoto Driving Park. You can catch that through drivers live streams. That happens tomorrow at 8:15 GMT time. Race lights out, do not miss it. But next for us, Zach, for us too, is the ISR AIC Season 3 Round 2 at the Hungara Ring. Have any thoughts going to Hungary?
It's going to be very interesting. Of course, we got a bit of, I wouldn't say less overtakes than here, but there is one spot that you definitely don't want to make the overtake, and that is that right and left complex through, I believe it's the third sector. So we're going to be having to watch that section very carefully. But Hungaroring has been very good, you know, in Formula One throughout kind of the early 2000s. And of course, it is the track that Michael Schumacher really stepped his game up and put in his name in the legendary Formula One name list. But you know, it's going to be very fun to watch, I believe. But yeah, hats off to Rhinus Vangelis getting, you know, his first win in a while. I believe it was season 1. I believe it was like the second or third race that we did in the ASI season. So it's been quite a long time since we've seen Rhinus Vangelis. But of course, this is the highest finish for Toby Burn. So I believe this will be a start of many things. And I believe this could be a start of many things for, of course, Iron Brew. They just need to get Colin McAllister going. Just a bit of bad luck and just, you know, playing it cautious because there was a lot of crazy stuff, you know, going on around him. And I believe he had a car at one point of Christopher Pedersen on top of him at one point. But if they can get Colin McAllister going, I believe Iron Brew is going to be up in the mix as well.
So it is Rhinus Vangelis' first victory since Okayama last time out in Season 1. It's been a long time, and it's an amazing start for the ISR TBD partnership, and I'm sure TBD will be very happy to decide to step into the ISR AIC with a result like that. Just to wrap off, Zach, I'm going to give my opinions and ask you on yours on Driver of the Day. There's so many to pick from, so good luck in doing it. But mine is going to be Nut Martinson from 18th to score points. He needed that. He could not afford to start the racing off on the wrong foot. He did that last time and never really recovered. But that champion's drive shows why he won Season 1, in my opinion, and he earns Driver of the Day. How about you?
I'm going to have to say the same. You know, starting from the back of the field is tough in any series of discipline racing that you can get, whether it's NASCAR, you know, Formula One racing, IndyCar. So it was a very good drive. And, you know, he played his cards right and he kept his cool throughout the first corner chaos. And of course, like we've said, he's known for these open wheel style cars. This is what AOR is originally known for, is the Formula One racing games, which is how AOR got started. So it's no surprise that he knows how to drive these type of cars. So I think the spotlight's going to be on him throughout this season. If he can keep up what he's doing, you know, as he did today, you know, he will be our first repeat winner. But, you know, it's only the first race, Toby. So we got a long season ahead of us. So anything can happen in Formula One, as they say, and it usually does.
Yeah, an honourable mention to Gareth Lennon as well, coming from 7th to finish 2nd after just keeping his nose clean in Turn 1, really. But can Nut Martinson, the man who was our first ever repeat victory taker in Season 1, become our first ever repeat champion in the ISR AIC and deny us our third champion. There's a lot of speculation going into round 2, sorry, we're getting ahead of myself already. But the racing has been absolutely beautiful today, and I really hope it continues for next time out. Zach, thank you for joining me in the box once again. I'm very excited about the season to come. I'm very excited about sharing some shouty moments over the racing with you over the course of this season. And until next time in Hungary, goodbye.